A lot of people that in that house are doing. So basically, the Taoiseach talked in the door about the defence forces today, and it's what they say, what he said. So obviously, at the moment of the time, they want to buy new planes, upgrade the air fleet, the air corps, which I have no problem with. I have no problem with it because planes are cheap nowadays. Planes are cheaper than the war, which I have no problem with them buying new planes or anything like that. They might as well use the money when they have it. Um, but the thing I do have the problem with, and the thing that, Leo Varadkar doesn't seem to understand and doesn't seem to recognise, he just thinks of numbers. That's all he just thinks of. He just thinks of numbers. He doesn't think that these people have families or anything like that. Like, we have troops in the Congo. We have 2 officers in the Congo on peacekeeping missions. We have troops in Lebanon, 350 troops to be precise. All of them have families. All of them have, relations. All of them have friends. And I can't imagine how terrifying it is to be in a foreign country. And to be abandoned, and it's simple as like the government could do something. They could do something. They could say to the Taoiseach said to rely on other defence forces. Then do that. Why is not annoying other defence forces saying bring our troops home? Because I'm sure if that was any other country in Europe, that would say the Netherlands were over there. I'm sure they'd be annoying the Irish government saying please bring our troops home where they belong in this time of crisis instead of leaving them over in Lebanon. I'm sure if there was any other government in Europe, the majority government probably would say, the troops come first. They couldn't care if we have to ask every country in the world, can they fly our troops home? And they're talking about using the government jet to fly these troops home. And yeah, I think the only reason why they're afraid, more what they're saying is just, why should we use the government jet to fly? We want more jets. We want to buy more jets because we don't want to use the government jet. Why do you not want to use the government jet? It's because Michael Higgins might decide he wants to fly up from Dublin to Belfast in the jet. But by the way, it costs a huge amount of money to run. I couldn't care if the price was over $1 million to get these troops home. Because there would be water. There'd be water to get these troops home and to get them back to their families, where they belong on Irish soil. But the thing I didn't like is when Michael Higgins and, TDs and senators and, every Tom, Dick and Harry in government buildings decides to get on the Defence Forces planes and fly to God knows Timbuktu on the government on the taxpayers' money. Like, it's all, them planes are used for the Defence Forces purpose. They're operated by the Air Corps. Recently, that plane in particular brought a child from Ireland to Germany for treatment for cancer. And only for that, that child wouldn't have had to pay for a flight and everything like that, and that was watered. That's what we should be using it for, not flying Taoiseach Leo Varadkar around or Michael Higgins here, there, and everywhere. That's what it should be used for. And it's watered. It's watered to save somebody's life. It's watered to use them. But and this is the thing. Like, the Taoiseach's just more or less saying, "Oh, we're buying new fleets. I'm not really too bothered with the men and the women and men over in Lebanon or in the Congo. They can defend their only numbers. We can replace them." It's just, they just don't care. They just don't get it. Like, Taoiseach doesn't just get it. And Michael Higgins doesn't get it. They have to spend another 6 weeks. I didn't mention, they'll spend another 6 weeks. So you're expecting, they were supposed to come home in April. So you're expecting our soldiers to stay over there for another 6 weeks. Into January. No, to July, sorry, not January. What am I talking about? I see months are confusing me now. To January, to July, sorry, I keep getting mixed up. And they're basically, I leave an article in the description, but they're basically just going on writing, shiting. They remain in quarantine, obviously, when they come back, but, and then Malawi, the troops, the Army Fort wing is in Malawi, obviously, the German Air Force is helping them out and the rest of that. But the whinging and quibbling are quite, like, they won't bring them back. And I don't know why. Like, they could go out of their way. Like, I'm just saying this, Michael Higgins and Leo Varadkar could go out of their way and say, you know what, to an Aer Lingus flight, let's just say, they can just say to Aer Lingus, here's a few bob, fly to Lebanon, get these troops away, contact the Lebanon government and say, we're flying a plane in to get our troops out. They could, if they wanted to, they could go, and like the two whinging and quibbling and crying, they're afraid to defend the EU and they're afraid to defend, the United Nations. And I would say to the Taoiseach, and I would say to the United Nations too, that Ireland has, been peacekeeping for the last 60 years. Ireland's peacekeeping for so much longer than any other country nearly in the world. I think, we deserve to have a little favour maybe on the United Nations part. because these troops are suffering, the United Nations over there too, and along with Ireland. And to just abandon them, like, I just can't get over the disrespect. And that's more or less. And I know it costs money, and I know that, and they can't magic money, and they can't magic planes and everything like that. But it's just the thing. Like, I would, if I was an officer, I'd go out of my way to help them. As simple as that, I'd go out of my way, even if it came out of my own pocket, I'd go out of my way. Just so I wouldn't have to say to them family, them the Fed forces that were supposed to come home in April, I wouldn't have to say that they had to spend another minute there. Because obviously they want to come home to the families. But no, Leo Varadkar has a better idea. Let's keep them over there. They still have to pay tax, but let's keep them over there. It's just, it's just this crack. It's just that crack. Just leaving them there for another 6 weeks. It's mad. It's mad. Like, they could do something if they wanted. And that's the thing. Like, I'm sure the god Leo Varadkar could do something on Michael Higgins if he had they have to play. Like, they have the government jet. They have planes in the air code. They have other planes. As I said, they could even as they said when they got over to China to get the PPE. They could not just fly a plane, ask the Aer Lingus, can you fly a plane to Lebanon, get the troops out, home, and pay the Aer Lingus a bit of money, and that's really it. But no, the government have better ideas. Let's just, let it lie for another 6 weeks. And it's just to me, and people might say, making a bigger deal out of this than it should be. It's just, I'm sure everybody would agree with me. If you were away from your family in this, it's particularly in this time, you're in Timbuktu, let's just say you're in Timbuktu, in Australia, you would want to come home to your family. And if you were serving abroad and you were serving in the Defence Forces, you would want to come home and help the effort at home, which the Defence Forces are doing. But you wouldn't want to sit in Lebanon and just stand around doing nothing. And this is it's well overdue when they come back. They're well overdue, and they served their country very, very well. And there's not enough people talking about it. There's not enough people care. Like, these men and women are over there, and God knows what could happen to them. At any moment they could get attacked. As simple as that. And I might as well say straight, that's what they risk every moment of their life when they're on peacekeeping missions. It's just common sense. Just bring them home. Like, they could go out of the way. I would rather spend €1 million to get them home or something, because it was 350 soldiers of the Irish Army. We have to get them home. As I said, all these have families. All these have mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters. They want to see them. They don't want to be in Lebanon all the time. It's particularly let's just see. Like, it's May 14th. They were supposed to come back on April the 5th. Like, that just goes through. There's over a month there, and they're going to have to wait another 6 weeks now. And then there'll probably be another 6 weeks, and another 6 weeks. Leo Varadkar decides, do you know what? Let's get some money together. Let's bring our troops home, but they have to pay for the flight. That's the thing. When you see, that's what's going to happen. But I bet you anybody, because that's the kind of crack Leo Varadkar come up with. To try and exploit the Defence Forces again, as he always has done. He's exploited the Defence Forces for years, and the same with Michael Higgins. Never done a thing for the Defence Force. Give them a few extra bob, but that's nothing. It was nothing, literally. You might as well give them the door when you're at it. Because, you get more in Tesco's. There's people left the Defence Forces and left to go to Tesco and get better pay in Tesco and Superfire. And that's for the National Army of Ireland. You do so much training, you go through so much hardship, and then you leave to go to Tesco. Now, there's something wrong there, and I'm sure everybody would agree with me on that. If you see that happening in any country, you have to take a long look at your army and say what's happening with it. And it's simple. It's not the officers. I don't blame them. It's the higher ups. It's the people in the Department of Defence and the Taoiseach and the president, especially the president. He's sitting on his big fat arse up in ours and Neutron, and he's refusing to say boo all about it. Like, he could say one day, like, he obviously is a figurehead to the Irish States. I get that, and he can't really say much. But my God, I'm sure he has a voice, and he can use his voice as Commander-in-Chief of the Army to say, look, the Department of Defence, do something or I'll get rid of you. Oh, I get rid of the Taoiseach, I call you illegitimate or something like that. I'm sure he could do something like that. Even if, like, I might as well say, if I was president, and if I seen the Defence Forces like this, I would resign. Simple as that. If I couldn't fix it, I would resign. Simple as that, because I would be so disgraced to see families, being left heartbroken that the troops have to stay over there for another 6 weeks. I would resign. I would really, really just resign, especially with all the paying conditions, people sleeping on ships in the middle, sleeping on the decks of the ships. Like, I would resign. As simple as that. I would never allow that to happen if I was Commander-in-Chief of the Army. I would never allow that. I would rather see myself hanged on the Phoenix Park than allow that to happen. And Michael Higgins doesn't blink an eyelash to this. This is the best thing about it. Like, he shows no remorse. That the troops have been treated like this. And if that was me, I would show remorse because I'd be fucking devastated. Might as well just course I'm mad because I'm that tick now. I would be fucking devastated. And I might as well say straight. To see any man and any woman treated like that, treated like a second-class citizen, which is what they treat like the Feds forces like. Because the people in the asylum centres getting better treated, and the people in prison are getting better treatment. At least they're getting a nice bed with no stains or anything like it, and people remember that. But yeah, that's enough of that.